everybody, it's Kelly with Soulful Creation, and today I'm going to be making the Harmony Bag by Unikatz Patterns. This is the cutest drawstring bag. I love drawstring bags. I love that I can just open it up. I don't have to worry about flaps and zippers and snaps, and I just want to be able to just open it up and put all my stuff in. My kids know I never zip up my purses. I don't use flaps. I don't use snaps. If they're on there, they're just there. I don't use them. And whenever they zip up my purse, I go, don't zip my purse up. I just like my purse to be open, and I like to just be able to throw stuff in there. So drawstring bags are so good for me. And I like that this one is not your typical drawstring bag. You know, it's a little more sophisticated and, you know, leveled up. It doesn't look like a little girl's bag. So I love this one so much. So this is the one that you'll see me making in the video. Okay, I'm using this beautiful vinyl by Love Lola, and this black vinyl is one of my favorite black vinyls because it sews up so nicely. And this one has a crossbody strap, and the connectors for that are attached right to the handles, and I love that. Okay, so on the bottom you have your purse feet and a nice sturdy bottom here. On the back you have a nice size zipper pocket. I think it's big enough to put your phone in there. You can put your keys, so you have easy access to those things that you need to grab really quickly. Okay, on the drawstring you can put some, you know, zipper ends like I did on this one. On this one here, I actually have these drawstring, these are made for drawstrings, these little ends on here. So you can do that, or you don't need them at all. You can just knot it and leave it just like that, and it's perfectly fine. Okay, so I like this one. I chose this little panel, and I know the drawstring kind of covers up her face a little, but I still think it just looks so cool on this bag. So I really love that. So inside you have a zipper pocket with overlay and a slip pocket with trim. Okay, it opens up nice and wide. It's roomy and spacious. The lining fits really well. And so this, again, like I said, oh, let me mention the gusset here too. I love the gusset. The sides are pleated, so it actually gives it a more room and makes it look, you know, just very spacious and roomy. So I love those sides. You know, instead of just a plain gusset, we have those nice pleats on the side. So enough said. I've said all I need to say about this bag. You can see how cute it is. So get your pattern, get your supplies, and let's get ready to make the Harmony Bag by Unikatz Patterns. Okay, to start our Harmony Bag by Unikatz Patterns, we're going to start with our handle pieces. So I have 4 handle pieces cut out. So 2 that are longer here, and then 2 shorter pieces. Okay, and I have marked the centers and put double-sided tape down the center here, and we're going to turn the raw edges in towards that center line on all 4 pieces. Okay, so I should have probably done at least 3 of them ahead of time, but I'll try to make this as quick as possible. Okay, or how about I just do 2? I'll do 1 short and 1 long, and then I'll do the other 2 off camera. You know, I try to not be so redundant. So I'm just meeting it up to the center. No need to leave a gap or anything. Just butt them right up against each other here. Okay. Alrighty. Got this side here. And all right, so we get the first one, and then I'll take a longer piece here. Okay. neighbor wants to have their gardener come at this time. Hopefully. Okay. All right, so get this done here. Okay. I wish I could do like they do in the movies and say, you know, the TV studios when they say recording. Okay, so let's take the long piece, and on one end, we're going to mark out 1/2 inch on the wrong side, and then 2 inches. So we're going to have 2 marks, okay? So just like this, we're going to have 2 marks, and we're going to put a piece of double-sided tape right in between those 2 marks. Okay. And snip that. Okay. Then we're going to take our 1 inch. So you should have 2 1-inch D-rings. So you're going to take your D-ring, and we're going to slide that on. Okay, so just go ahead and slide it down. Then we'll take the shorter piece, and we're going to remove the backing from the double-sided tape, and we're going to line up at that first mark, so the 1/2 inch mark. We're going to line that up, and we're going to match up the sides here. Okay. And then that 2 inch line there that we have, so we can just mark it on this side too. So it should be, so 2 inch there. Just going to mark it there too, just so I can see, okay? And we're going to sew. We're just going to sew this section here. So we're not going to go past that 2 inch mark, and we're going to sew that rectangle right there. Okay, so the top stitching. Okay, so we have the short side up. Okay. Make sure it's all lined up nice. So when you get to that 2 inch line, you're going to put your needle down, and you're going to pivot, and you're going to turn, and then you're going to sew across that 2 inch line. Okay, and then we're going to come back down. Snip these little threads out the way. Okay, these D-rings are going to serve as our connectors for our crossbody strap. Okay, so we have that in place like that. So it should be looking like this here. Now, if you have a really thick D-ring, my D-ring is, it's a nice thickness. You could either do, I think, let me just make sure. It says a 1/2 inch, but if it's a really thick D-ring, you can do 5/8. So I think I am going to do the 5/8. So I'm marking from where we stitched. I'm going to do another line, 5/8 here. Okay, so right there from the stitches. Okay. So that's where I'm going to slide my D-ring up. We're going to have our double-sided tape here. Well, first we're going to mark, we're going to mark a 1/2 inch on this end of the long piece. So we're going to do another 1/2 inch mark there. And we're going to place our double-sided tape within those marks. Okay. Okay. Or you, excuse me. Okay. And now we're going to put the rest of our handle down. Okay, so at the 1/2 inch lines, it should match up to the 1/2 inch line if I measured correctly, which I hope I did. Okay. And I'm just going to stick this down and get my D-ring back where it's supposed to go. Okay. Okay. And make sure it's looking good here. Okay. And again, I can mark my 5/8. So I see my stitch line there. So there's my, so I know where I want to start stitching. Okay. So now I have that in place there. So now everything is attached here. So now we're going to stitch, and we can start over here on this end, and then we're going to stitch, go up to that line, pivot, go across, and come back down. And we'll have our connector on our D-ring. Very clever, right? Okay, so let me go ahead. Very, very clever. All right, I like little clever things. I'm getting to the line. I'm going to drop my needle. I'm going to pivot. And I'm going to come across right on that line. And then I'm going to sew back down. Okay, so now we have one handle done with the connectors, with the connector on. So look at that. So that's cute, right? So when the handle is attached and on the bag, and then you could just clip your crossbody strap right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other side. I'll do that off camera. Do the other handles, the other handle rather. And then I will be back with the next step in our Harmony bag. Both of my handles are now done, and I have the D-rings on there. So these we can set aside. Now we're going to get our cincher panel. This is the panel that where we're going to pull the drawstring through. So on the back, I have marked the center line and applied some double-sided tape. And then pay attention because these sides are kind of curved here. Okay, so just pay attention to that when you're top stitching this. So we're going to remove the backing from the double-sided tape, and we're going to fold. Oh, and by the way, we have a piece of Decovil Light fused to the center. So on the pattern piece, there's a cutout so that you can mark the placement for your stabilizer on this piece. Okay, so we're going to fold the raw edges into that center line. Okay, so again, we don't need to leave any gap. We're just butting up these raw edges into the center. Okay, just like so. So now we have this. Now we're going to top stitch. We're going to do 1/8 of an inch all around, and then we're going to do 1/2 an inch from each side. Okay, so we should have 4 rows of top stitching when we're done. Okay, so I'm going to start over here on the short end. Just back stitch. Okay. And okay, and then I'm just going to continue. So I'm going to see that that's about 1/2 an inch right there. I have my marks on my plate so I can see where a 1/2 inch mark is. So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do my 1/2 inch top stitching here. Okay, I'm just following that slight curve of the shape here. And then I'll go this way, line it up at the 1/2 inch, and then go. Okay. Now I'll just finish it off with a little back stitch there. Okay. So now I have all of my top stitching is done. I know it's hard to see on black, but I have my 4 rows of top stitching. So now we're going to bring the right sides together here. Okay. I'm going to bring our right sides together. And, well, let me see. Let me just double check and just make sure that I'm telling you. Okay. Yeah. So first, let's mark our midpoint. So let's bring the short ends together. So we're going to do this right sides together. Wrong sides together. And we're going to mark. So use a marking tool that's removable, erasable. Okay. And we're going to mark that center. Okay. So just make sure you mark. Okay. So I have that marked like that. Now we're going to do right sides together. Okay, you can add a little clip here. And we're going to sew across at 3/8 of an inch. Make sure you backstitch really well. Okay. We have that. Make sure everything. Okay. So now once you have that sewn like that, we're going to turn this right side out. So just push it through carefully. You don't want to pop any stitches here. It's a little tight, but we'll get it turned. Okay. There we go. All right, and I still see my center mark that I did, okay? That center line, just brightened it up for you. Okay, so now we're gonna open up those seams, open up that seam in the back. Okay, make sure it's open and flat like that. And we're going to line up the seam with that center mark on both sides. Okay, so it should be, and we're gonna clip. And let's line it up on this side. Okay. And we'll just put a little clip there. Okay, so now we'll have that. And we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch on each side of that center line. Okay. Tell her to be quick. Okay. So let's start. Make sure that seam stays open. Okay. Okay, and I'm just going to give it a little back stitch here. Okay. And then I'm just going to pivot. And I'm following my other top stitching from before. And I'm just going to go over about 1 stitch, or maybe 1.5. Okay. And now I'm going to stitch back down 1/8 of an inch down the other side of that line. Okay. Then I'm just gonna come across here. Okay. Just rub that chalk off. Okay. And then just open this up a little so you can see. Now, when we make our drawstring, we'll test out, make sure everything goes in nicely. But it's pretty roomy, so it should be no problem. So that's our drawstring, our cincher there, okay? So now that's done. Just gonna burn a couple of these little threads here. Make sure it's looking nice and neat. Okay. So now we can set that to the side. Now we're gonna grab our drawstring piece. Let me just get that. Okay, so you should have this piece for your drawstring. Should have your center marked and your double-sided tape down the center. And again, we're going to go ahead. We're going to bring the raw edges into the center. This time, I am going to leave a gap because I'm going to fold it in one more time. So we're going to have a narrow strip for our drawstring. Okay, so I'm just getting this loaded. So we're getting all of our handles and stuff like that. Get all these strips out of the way. Then we can get to the real fun stuff. And we still have a crossbody strap to make too. I know. And I think at the pattern that comes at the end, but I'm going to go ahead too. I'll do that off camera. Just sew up my strap, my crossbody strap, because, you know, we've seen that a million times, right? Okay. So I'm just leaving a little gap so that I can turn it again and there won't be any bulk towards the center. Okay. I'm just kidding. Alrighty. There we go. And now we'll fold it one more time. Okay, matching up those folded edges. And we'll put a couple of clips. We'll put some clips in there to hold it in place. And then we're going to just top stitch down this one side to close it up. Okay. Let's get this all done here. Right. He's still jazzy. Jazzy's just moving over. She's and my other daughter, she's over there typing. Okay, so now again, we're going to top stitch down this side here and get that closed up. And then we'll have our drawstring all done. Be careful. Take your time. This is such a narrow strip. Just want to make sure you keep it all lined up. Okay, right on, getting toward the end. All right, so now our drawstring is done, and then we'll check it, make sure it goes in our cincher really well. So let me grab that. Okay, so it should be able to just slide right on in, and it does. Okay. Fits, no problem. All right, so there we have it. Okay, so now we'll get the other part ready for the next step, and I'll be right back. Looking good so far. All right, so I went ahead and I sewed up my crossbody strap and everything. So now we're ready to do the back panel of our Harmony bag. So you should have your top back panel piece, and it should be interfaced. I'm using Decovil Light, and that's centered inside on the back side of this piece. And then the bottom back panel piece, and it also is interfaced with Decovil Light. And you will need your zipper tape and a zipper pull. You need your zipper tab piece, and this is going to get cut in half. So you could just fold it in half this way, and then you should have 2 equal pieces after that. Okay, so those are your zipper tabs. Okay, and by the way, I'm using this beautiful vinyl from Love Lola. I think it's so pretty. Okay, and I'm using waterproof canvas. So you should have 2 zipper pocket pieces cut the same size. On one of them, you're going to trim off this 1/2 inch piece. Don't discard that piece. Keep this piece because we're going to use it on this back panel piece. Okay, so we're going to need this piece, and you're going to need the uncut zipper pocket piece. This zipper pocket piece we're going to use later. Okay, so these are all the pieces that we're going to need. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our zipper pull on our zipper tape. So I'm just going to pull the side loose, and I'll get this on. And then put the other end, and I just like to line it up and get that on. So we have our zipper pull on, and then we're going to put our zipper, what are these? Zipper tabs. Get our zipper tabs clipped on, 1 on each side. Okay, we're just going to get that centered on. And then we're going to sew them on at 1/4 inch. So right sides together, 1/4 inch here. Okay, and we'll do the same thing for this one. Okay. Then we're going to fold them back, and then we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch from the seam here. Okay. I'm just taking my time, going over that zipper tape. Okay. And then this side. Okay, and then it's just a little bit wider than the zipper tape, so we could just trim it down to so it's the same width. And now you should have that. Now we're going to fold it to mark the centers. Now you could just mark it with a marking tool, or you can just snip a little bit. If you don't like to snip your zipper tape, then you could just mark it. I'm just going to put the tiniest little snip here. Same over here. Just the tiniest little snips. And then I just use my lighter here just to kind of make sure it doesn't fray. Okay. All right. So now once you have that, now we're going to grab the bottom piece. Okay. We're going to, we can mark the centers here too, top and bottom. Okay. And we're going to place some double-sided tape right across the top here on the right side. Okay. So pull the paper off, and then we're going to get our zipper on. Now, if you want your zipper pull to go close to the left, then make sure when you put it on, your zipper pull is going to the left. If you want it to close to the right, then do that way. I want mine to close to the left, so I'm going to put it, make sure it's that way, and line up, match up the center points, and then get that pressed down. Your zipper tab should extend past. That's perfectly fine. We're going to trim that excess off later. Okay. Okay. It's going to look like that. Boy, everybody's so noisy today. Make sure, just double check and make sure I got the right piece again. Okay. All right. Then we're going to put another piece of double-sided tape on the back side of the zipper. And this is optional. If you prefer not to have any double-sided tape in there, you don't have to put it. But it does help keep everything in place so it doesn't shift. Okay. We're also going to snip the centers here on the short ends of our zipper pocket piece. And we'll do both ends. Alrighty. Now, right side of your zipper pocket lining is going to go right down on here. Okay, so just peel that paper off, and now we're going to line this up, match up the center points. Let me press that down. Good. Just like that. Okay, and now we're going to sew across 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, my tape is a little bit longer than it needed to be, so I'm just going to remove this extra tape so my presser foot does not get stuck to it. side really wants to stick. Okay. We don't need that extra tape there. Okay. I'll just get that off. All right. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to sew across 3/8. And I'm going to use my stiletto. Make sure I stay on track. You can switch to your zipper foot if you think you need it. I just take my time. Between the double-sided tape and my stiletto, it usually keeps it from shifting. Okay, and once you get that sewn across, okay. Now we're going to turn this back, give it a good crease here, go back to the back, and then also make sure this is nice and smooth, and then we're going to top stitch. So if you need to make sure the lining doesn't shift back up, we can put a couple of clips down here to hold it in place. Okay. And then I'm going to top stitch. Okay. Okay, so now you should have that, just like that. Okay, let me just double check and make sure that I'm not leaving nothing out. Okay, so now we're going to grab, so remember the little strip that we cut off, we need that, and we need the top, back panel top. Okay, we're going to add some double-sided tape again. So to the front here of our zipper tape, right on the edge of our zipper tape here. Okay. Right there. And we'll pull that paper off. Make sure you mark the centers on this piece as well. So go ahead and snip that. And we might as well do the top as well. And we'll do this piece too. On one side here. Okay. All right. So now this longer edge, we're going to go right sides together, marking, matching up the centers. And we're going to get that pressed in place. Okay. Sure. Just want to make sure it's. Alright. There we go. On the back side, put another piece of double-sided tape across the back of the zipper tape. Pull that paper off. And then we're going to line this one up, match it up, and right side down. Okay, so on this side, you should have that little strip, and then we'll have the top here. And again, we're going to go 3/8 of an inch. Let me change my stitch length back. Move my zipper pull back some. Okay. And here we go. You want to be as accurate as possible here, so you can draw your seam allowance on if that'll help. Okay, so now we have that on. Okay, so now we can pull both of these up. So this part gets folded up, give it a little crease here. And then this part goes up. And we're going to top stitch through both. Okay. Not the zip, not this piece. Keep that piece down. But these pieces we're going to fold up and top stitch. Okay, it's looking good there. All right, so that's what it's looking like here. Okay, so now we could take this piece and bring it up. We're going to match it to this top piece. These pieces get matched up at the top, and we can put a couple of clips there. Okay, so from this side, that's how it's looking. From the back, that's how it's looking. The sides, they should be matched up pretty well, you know, if you cut it properly. And then we're just going to sew across this here at the top. Okay. Maybe, doesn't really matter. I think I'm going to just do a 1/4 inch here. I don't know if it's... Let me just see, what does she say? I don't think it really matters too much. So you're not going to see that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to just do a 1/4 inch. About a 1/4 inch here. Just a matter, we're just going to close it up. Okay. And then once you get that top part closed up, with that, now we're going to do the sides. So we're going to lift this up and we're going to sew down the sides. So don't go all the way up into this. You want to just go as close as you can, and we're going to sew down these sides. So I kind of start my needle down right in here in this seam allowance a little and back stitch and then sew down. Okay. And I'm doing a 1/4 inch. Keep my pocket as big as wide as I can. So don't go too far up. Okay. So I just caught the seam allowance just a little bit, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing here. Alright, fold that down, and now we have a completed pocket there. Close that up, make sure it's nice and flat. Okay, and then we can just trim off these zipper tabs that are the extra zipper tab that's extending past, following the angle here. Okay, and the same thing on this side. Okay. And then we can take our front piece, our front panel piece. So this is our front panel piece, has Decovil Light on the back, and we can just check and see, make sure they're matching up. They should be now the same size, and they are. So that's why it's important to try to have your seam allowances as accurate as possible when you're doing that zipper, okay? And then everything should match up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with my front piece, and I'm going to mark those midpoints here at the top and the bottom. Okay. And then we will be back with the next part of our Harmony bag. All right, so I had kind of skipped ahead and I did not prepare my piping strips. So you should have 2 strips for your piping. This is one I've already done. I've already included my piping cord in this one, and it's done and it's ready. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So here's my piping strip, and it's just the way I do it. Okay, I have, according to the pattern, I marked out 1 3/4 inch on both sides. So I applied double-sided tape down the center of that, in between those lines, those marks. And I'm just going to remove the backing here from the double-sided tape. I have my piping cord. So I'm using this felt piping cord. I'll put the description, the link in the description, so that if you'd like to get the same one. This one is very narrow. I think it's only like about 1/8 of an inch in diameter. So I like this one. And I'm just going to just lay it right down the center onto the double-sided tape. Okay. Doesn't have to be exact. It's not. Okay. Just get that. But I'm just putting that right down. Okay, I have a little extra there. I'm just going to snip that off. Okay. And then I'm just going to match up the raw edges here on my strip here. And I'm just pressing where that double-sided tape is. Just to hold it, kind of hold it in place, wrapped around that cord. I have already put my piping foot on. You don't need one. I've done piping a lot without one, but it is very helpful if you have one. Okay. So now I'm just going to just sew close to that cording. Okay, so it should, I'm not going to back stitch. I'm just going to just start sewing. And the cording should just go right into the channel of my piping foot. And I'll get pretty close to it. Okay. You can also use store-bought piping if you prefer. Just follow the instructions for your piping. Okay, there you go. So now we have our piping strips done. Be ready for when it's time to attach those to our bag. So there we have it. Okay. So just wanted to do that. Those out of the way there. Okay. So now we're going to get ready. Let me get back to where I was. Okay. So now we're going to get ready to do our side panels, attach our side panels to our base panel. So let me just grab those. We'll need the pattern piece here, and let me get my base here. Okay, so I have my base, I have my two side panels, okay, and then I need to put my purse feet on to my base. I have not done that, so let me get my purse feet. Let's grab those. That done. I meant to have my purse feet on already and I forgot to put them on. Okay, so I'm using this bag stiffener by Tandy. It's my new favorite thing when I want something nice and sturdy. So that's going to give me a nice sturdy bottom. Okay, so I also have the link in the description for this. I really do like it. So I'm using that, and I punched holes, and I'm just going to go ahead and get my purse feet in there. And then I'm going to cover it with some duct tape. Okay. This is definitely one bottom that won't collapse. Okay. I put a lot of stuff in my bags, let me tell you. Okay. So grab my duct tape here. cut out here, okay? I'm gonna press that down. Okay. Alrighty, so we have our purse feet on. Okay. Now we're going to take our side panels, and we need to go ahead. We have on the pattern piece, we have these little pleat marks here. Okay, so I'm going to mark those. So I'm just going to mark those little marks there. Right onto the bottom of my side panels. Okay. All right. And then what I'd like to do is I just like to snip right into them. Just the tiniest of snips. Okay. Just the tiniest. And then I'm going to also mark my midpoints, notch out my midpoints here. And I'll do the same thing for the top. Okay, put this one aside here for a second. Okay, I do need to switch back to my regular foot. I'm going to do that really quick. Make sure it's nice and tight. All right, so now we have that back on now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, so you see I have these little notches there, right? So we're going to take this one. Let me just make sure. I was like, I had it all in my head, and now with all that, I forgot. Okay, I want to make sure I'm doing the right. Okay. Innermost mark. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so from the right side, we're going to take this innermost mark. So that's, you got 1, 2, 3. So you the one on the inside. We're going to pinch that. That's why I like the little notch, because you can pinch that, and then we're going to bring it right over to the one on the outside. So the one in the center gets folded to the back. So we have that. Okay. And then we're going to clip that to hold that. So again, the one on the inside, pinch it like this, and we're going to fold it over the center one, and then match it up with the one on the outside. And then the one in the center is going to be back here. Okay. And then it should look like this. Okay. And then we could just base that on. Base those in place. Make sure we don't lose our pleats here. And I'm just going to go right across. Make sure it stays lined up here. There we go. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the other. Okay. So let me grab this one. Get my little snips in there. Okay. Do my midpoints here. Okay. And again, the innermost mark, pinch it, and then bring it right over to match up with the outermost mark. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and baste them in place. Okay, and then over here, I forgot to mark my midpoints. I don't want to bend this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So we're gonna go right there. So I'm just marking the midpoints on the short side here. Okay. And then I guess I'll do this side too. So that's 4, 1, 2, 3, right there. And right there. Okay. And I just put a little snip, because I know this chalk is gonna rub off. All right, so now we can go ahead and attach this, okay? So we're gonna mark up the midpoints here. I mean, line up the midpoints, okay? And then if you did these pleats right, it should match up and be the same width as our base, okay? Just get this here. Here. Okay. Just like that. And then I believe we're sewing it at 3/8, correct? Yes, 3/8. Okay, so let's get this sewn on. I could tell it's almost time for me to change my bobbin. Okay, so I'm going to sew this at 3/8. Okay. And we will do the same thing on the other side. I'll do that off camera. So right now, we're going to fold this back, make sure the seam allowance is going toward the base, and we're going to top stitch right across there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So seam allowance going toward the base. Because I can tell that I'm getting low on bobbin, so I need to get my bobbin. All right. There we have that. Looks good. Looks good, good, good. All right. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead, do the other side, and we'll continue. All right. I have the other side of my side panel on. Me and Jazzy think this looks like a giant bow. So cute, right? Okay, so we can put that aside. Now we're going to do our piping. So I have my front panel here, and I'm going to attach our piping. So remember, we already have the midpoints marked. I folded this together, found the midpoint on my piping, and made a little notch. Okay, and that's where I'm going to clip it down here at the bottom. So match that up and get that. And we're going to just put a few clips down here at the straight edge here. One of these bigger ones here. Okay. And then here, we're going to put some little snips in the piping to go around the curves. So I'm just snipping. So just as much as I need for the curves here. Don't go into the stitches up there in your piping cord, okay? So it should, you want to make sure you keep it nice and flat as it goes around the curve. You don't want it to end up going up like this, you know, as you curve it around. You want to keep it nice and flat. That's what keeps your piping nice and smooth. So just keep it flat around the curve. And then also I did mention I have some little notches up here. So use your pattern piece, your front panel pattern piece to get the placement marks for where you're going to start and stop your piping. Okay, so I put a little notch there. So I know I'm going to start and stop there. Okay, so just going to keep clipping here till I get right where that notch is there. And I'm just gonna stop right there. I don't know why my piping strip is so long. I guess I must have cut it too long. I think I cut my piping strip too long. It should not be this long. But okay, it's okay. I just cut that off. I think I might have used the measurement for the what's that? The drawstring. I really think that's what I did. Oh, goodness. Better too long than too short, right? Okay. So, now I'm going to do this side. So, just again, make sure that it stays nice and flat. This side is, you know, my left hand side, so it's a little awkward doing it from this direction, but okay, it's okay. We're gonna do it. Okay, so just get it around that curve and keep it flat. Flat is the key. Okay. Yes, I'm known for doing a wacky thing here and there, you know. Jazzy can tell you. Don't tell them too much, Jazz. Okay. I'll just snip the rest of that off. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to set this over here. So now I am going to have to open this up. and remove some of this piping cord. I don't want it to extend past where we're going to start and stop. So I'm just going to snip this open a little and pull this down. And okay, when I get to where I'm going to start and stop, I'm going to pull it out. Okay, so that's it. Snip that out. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Well, that's the whole purpose of leaving the 1 3/4 inch, so you don't have the piping cord in there. But when you cut your piping strip super long, this is what you have to do. Of course, I got the double-sided tape in there. This one wants to be wrapped up in it, so I'm just gonna have to pull that out. Okay, so I'm gonna get to where's my notch? Okay, so I need to pull this back just a little bit more. Don't want that in the seam. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, so now we're ready. Okay, so I'm going to start over here. So here's where I'm starting and stopping. Okay, so I'm going to put a snip right there in my piping strip, and then I'm going to notch that out. So I'll have a little triangle notched out. That will help me be able to curve this out at a 90-degree angle right at the notch. And that's where I'm going to start attaching. So I could put my piping foot back on, but I'm not going to. Okay, so I'm going to move this down a little. So again, I'm folding this out at a 90-degree angle right at where I'm starting and stopping. And I'm just going to back stitch, making sure that I keep that down. Okay, and it doesn't have to be super close to where my other stitches are. I'm just going to get this in place because we'll hide all these stitches once we sew everything together. Okay, so the whole point is I just want this on. Just keep those edges matched up as you go. Okay. And then as I'm getting closer up here to the other notch, I need to snip that again. Get my little notch out. Okay. And then we're going to curve this out 90 degrees. And then continue sewing on up. Okay. Now we have our piping attached to the front. We have this extra here that we can just snip off. I like to snip it off from the back so I can line it up with the exterior. Okay. All right, so then that's what that's looking like. Okay, so we have that on. I'm going to do the same thing to the back panel with the other one, and then when I come back, we'll get ready to add our side panel base piece to our our front and back panels, and our exterior will be pretty much done. All right, we got piping on both the front and back. I added my logo to the front panel, and now we're going to get ready to put it all together. So I have my base and my side piece here, and we're just going to go ahead and match the centers here at the bottom, right sides together. I'm going to get it all clipped in place. Just getting the straight edge here clipped. All right, and now we're going to bring this up and around here and clip here at the top. Get that clipped down the sides. Okay, we'll leave the corners, the little curvy corners for last. So I'm going to do this side over here too. Get this clipped. Okay, so now it looks like I don't even need to notch too much on this because my black vinyl is a little stretchy as it is, but I'm just going to still put, just making sure. I just don't want it to be looking puckered or anything. So I'm just putting a few notches here right at the curves. On the gusset, not on the main panel, not on the front panel. Okay, just want to make sure it, because this fits so good and so nice. I'm always good to toss a clip or two.
Even across the room, like,
I know, Jazzy, where'd it go? And then they never go and do. Oh, I thought I saw it. Oh well. How did they get? No, that's not it. Because this is one of these bigger ones. Oh. I thought I saw it go. I
saw it come right over here.
Right, it just disappeared. The clip fairy snatched it up before we could get it up. Don't worry. I always find lots of clips when I sweep in here. Okay, so now we got it all clipped together. Now we're ready to sew. We're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. We're going to sew with our gusset side up. Okay, so I'm going to start right up here. Okay, are we in a good spot, Jazzy? You know, it's just black on black, and I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes I don't think about that and how it may be hard to see. Yeah. Okay, so, and then we have to keep in mind our piping too. So I can feel where my piping cord is. And I just want to, but it should be real, if not right at the 3/8, it should be very close. So I'm just keeping my stiletto right up against that piping cord, making sure I get as close to it as I can. And I could be using my piping foot, but I want you to see that this can be accomplished without one. Okay, so we're going around this curve. Okay. I'm gonna go back across there. Okay. And then I have this very thick stabilizer here, so just need to make sure that I can feel my cording. I might have to go over the bottom again. So, because I don't think I'm getting close enough because of this heavy duty stabilizer here. But don't worry. Okay, so let me just make sure. I probably should have put the since I'm using this heavy stabilizer, I probably should have put it in after I did this. I was not thinking about that. You know, I'm still trying to learn how to play around with this stuff. Okay. So I'm getting up to the top. Like I said, I probably have to go back over the bottom a little. I'll check. Of course, I broke my thread. Okay, I broke my bobbin thread. All right. So this is the moment we will check and see if we have to go over it again. Sometimes there's some spots where you might have to stitch a little bit closer. So let me turn this out so we can see. Let's push that right on out. All right. So let's see how that's looking. Wow, I got closer than I thought. Do have to do just a little bit because I can see here. I can see the stitches there. So right there. And just a little bit on this corner and a little bit on that corner. So I just have to go in just a little bit tighter there. But otherwise, you can still see how that's looking. And that's looking really good. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run this back around a little. I'm going to put the other side on. And then I'll show you what it's looking like when we return. All right. I'm back. I have put both sides on. I just want you to see what it's looking like. And I think it's looking so great. Oh, thank you, Jessie. Okay, so it's looking good. We have our side panels on. I love the pleating on the sides. The bottom is nice and firm. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to do our lining. So as you can see, I've already done the pockets on the lining. Okay, so if you need to know how to do a zipper pocket with overlay, I'll have my video link in the description, but make sure you leave your pocket open, okay, because we're going to be turning through the pocket. I have my slip pocket done. I added some rivets in the corner with some stabilizer, so that's all done. I used a pattern piece to mark the placement for the handles, okay, so I have those on there. I don't know if you can see, but I used the chalk. I have the handle placement. So we're going to take our handles and we're going to place them right sides down. So the part with the shorter handle should be facing up. So you'll see the where we have the shorter handle attached on this side. So, and then your D-ring should fall on the same side on both. So then that way, when we put this all together, they will be on the opposite sides, and so your strap will kind of go on at a diagonal, your crossbody strap. Okay, so we're just going to line this up inside those marks that I have here from the pattern piece. And we can clip that And we're just going to baste these in place. Okay. So that's one. And then we'll get this one. Get that basted in place. Make sure you don't twist your handle. Make sure it stays straight in place. And we're going to get that basted on. Okay. Get this one. Thank y'all. Okay. And I'll get this one. Okay. Okay. So we have that basted on, and then we'll do the next one. Okay, now once we get those basted in, now we're going to take our top lining pieces. So you should have 2 cut from your exterior. So they should look like this. So this is the top and then this is the bottom. I'm going to mark the midpoints here. At both the top and bottom. Okay. And now we're going to get ready to clip this on. So the bottom straight edge goes right sides together with the top straight edge of our lining. And we're going to get that clipped on and we're going to sew that on. I'll check the seam allowance in just a second. I believe it's 3/8, but I always like to check because sometimes I'm wrong. Oh, there we go again, Jazzy. Drop and clip. Sometimes I'm wrong, but not too often, huh, Jazzy?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God, Jazzy. How dare ya, girl.
Mom's never wrong.
Girl, please.
See, you don't even let you live good on first.
We don't have to go there. All right. Oh, I'm supposed to be checking the seam allowance real quick. Hold on. Let me check. Let me check. Just really quick. Okay. 3/8. Okay, 3/8. Alrighty. So we're getting a back stitch. And when I go over these handles, I'm just going to back stitch a little bit over these handles just to give it a little extra reinforcement there. Okay, we're back. Somebody, there was a delivery at the door. The dog scared us. Ay, ay, ay.
And then he just goes and lays back down.
Yeah, he lays down like, hey, my work is done. Hey, sheesh, never a dull moment.
Who needs to go though when you have a pit bull?
For real. It's like, sheesh. If only we can get him to stop doing that, though. Okay, so now we're going to push the seam allowance down toward the lining. Let me just, it's like I don't know why my brain is not computing to remember these things, but okay. So towards the lining, and we're going to top stitch. It's like sometimes, I guess it's just too many patterns. Sometimes my brain just will not remember the next step unless I look. I guess unless I make the bag like quite a few times, then I don't know, but. Okay. So now we have that one done. Okay, so you see we have our connector there. That's very, very clever. Okay, so now we're gonna do this one really quick. So I'm gonna get this one sewn on and top stitched. Then we're gonna get ready to sew the sides to our lining and get it all put together. It's gonna look great. I can already tell. I really like this. Thank you, Rayvon from Love Lola, for the nice vinyl you gifted me. This is it was just perfect for this pattern. I had a whole different vinyl cut out for this video, and then when I saw she sent me this one, I said I'm gonna switch it because I really do like this one. And plus I like to show off the goodies from my soul sisters, my soul family. Okay. There we go. All right, gonna get this one top stitched. And then we on the roll. Get that, push that seam allowance down. Get it nice. And there we go. Okay. Alrighty. Now we're gonna get ready to put them together, right sides together. So you see how we have a D-ring, one on each side now when we put them together. Make sure you match up these seams the best you can over here. Okay. Get that clipped. Just gonna sew the sides down. We're gonna leave the bottom open, and we're gonna sew that later. And it's gonna make it so much easier to birth this one. So get that clipped, get this side clipped. Alright, let's get this sewn down. Again, I'm going to double check my seam allowances here and make sure I'm good to go. Okay, so, alright. So we're going to sew it at 3/8. So here we go. What happened? What did I do? Did I run out of bobbin? Or did I break my bobbin? I'm almost out. I think I'm just gonna switch because it's pretty low. So let's just pop in another one. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. Okay, so there we go. Get this side done. Alrighty. And now we're going to open up the seams and then we're going to top stitch. So we're going to top stitch just on the top panel on both on each side. Okay. Hold that seam open. So just going to do it like this. Get that seam open like that. I'm going to start up here. Make sure that seam is open underneath. Okay, and right when I get to where the top panel meets the lining, I'm going to stop and I'm going to pivot and I'm going to bring my needle one stitch over to the other side and then I'm going to top stitch the other side of this and come back up. Okay, so it's going to look like that. So we're going to go down right across there and then come back up. So I'm going to do the other side. Okay. Okay, so that's what it's looking like. We can trim this down. Don't trim your stitches. Get that trimmed down some. All right, so there we have our lining. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to put this all together. So we can grab our exterior and we make sure we have the zipper pocket facing towards the back of the bag. I'm just going to slide this over. Just like that. Make sure the handles are pushed down inside and out of the way. And then we're going to start matching up the center marks. So remember, we snipped the centers of our lining panels. We have the centers marked in the front and the back. So now I'm just going to match those up and just start clipping it. And then we're going to get this sewn together. Okay, so you get this all sewn together. So I'm just marking. I'm just clipping on my center first. And then I gotta start clipping everything in between. Make sure your seams are open up here on your exterior. Just open that up before you clip. Open that and clip that. Okay, so just continue to clip till you get it all clipped together. And we're gonna sew it at 3/8 of an inch. Just opening up the seam here. And it should fit together nicely. No problem. Okay, so it's almost clipped. All right, so now it's all clipped, went together good. So now we're ready to go ahead and sew it. So I'm gonna sew it this way, 3/8 of an inch. Just take my time. Move a couple of these clips out of the way and we'll get going. Okay, so I'm gonna get back stitch. Like to keep my stiletto. Make sure you keep everything lined up. Want to keep these seams open as you go across. And then I'll rotate it this way. Push it down. And I need some more light down, so thank you. Sorry for the noise. Okay. We're going around this little curve here of the side panel. It's a little curvy, so follow the curve. Here, gotta make sure this seam is open. Wasn't opened all the way. Okay. Going back over here on one of these side panels. And it's gonna start curving a little. We're almost finished. Okay, we made it around. All right. Looking good. Okay. Okay. get ready. I'm gonna trim this down some. Okay. Gonna trim down the seam allowance to about a 1/4 inch. Or less. There we go. And now we can just lift the lining up over the bag like this. I'm gonna push the seams out. Gonna push this lining back down into the bag. Good. It's looking so good. I get so excited when I get to see, when I start seeing how it's looking. Okay.
It's really good.
Thank you, Jazzy. I like it too. Okay, so we're gonna roll out these seams really good. Get them clipped, and then we're gonna top stitch. And we still have to finish up the lining. We have to close up the lining. And then, then we're gonna have to do the holes for the grommets, the dreaded grommets. Ooh, I'm telling you. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this clipped up. I will be back. No, you don't want to see me clipping. That's so boring. So I'll come back after I get this clipped, and then we'll get ready to top stitch and close up the lining, and then we'll tackle those scary grommets. All right, so let's get ready to top stitch. I have it all clipped up. Make sure your handles are tucked down in the bag and out of the way. And remember, we still have not closed up our lining yet. So I'm going to be top stitching this from the inside, okay? And just move this out the way a little. Okay, and it should be okay. All right, so I'm going to start off leaving long tails because I'm going to feed those through the seam later. So let's get going. All right, here we go. Here goes nothing. Well, okay. There's not a lot of real bulky areas here, so we should be good. I just a couple of seams, I just give a little squeeze with my pliers, but otherwise it should be problem free. Well, maybe I shouldn't say anything too soon. You know, I tend to jinx myself sometimes. Okay. Ouch. Okay. All right. Am I blocking the view, Jazzy? I probably am, huh? Sorry. This bag is trying to block everything. Okay. This is why don't be tempted to put extra interfacing up here on these top panels, because remember, you have to do your grommets, and it's a drawstring, and you want it to leave it, you know, nice, not too stiff, and where you can't pull the drawstring. So sorry if I'm blocking the view. okay, so I'm getting around to where I started. I'm just pulling my thread through so I can get ready to tie those off. Okay, so far so good. Okay. Last stitch right there in the same hole there. Okay, there we go. All right, that looks good. Good. Okay, let me just double check. Okay. Don't really see any problem areas. I think this one is just a little loose over here, so let me tighten that up just a little bit. Just maybe it didn't like over here. So I'm just pulling my thread just a little from behind, from the back. There, that looks good now. Okay, there's one right there. Just a little bit. Sometimes it's a little loose. Okay. I had just one little loose spot on the front, so I'm just tightening it by pulling my thread back here. Just a little trick I do sometimes when I have these. Okay, so now I'm good. Okay, so there we go. Everything else looks good. I just need to get these threads tied off. You've seen me, if you've watched my videos, which I hope you have, you'll see me do this quite a bit. Tie these threads off here. So I just feed through my needle and then go right back up through the center hole and then up through the seam allowance here. Right, try to get it without poking it all the way through. Come right up through the middle of the seam. Okay. So pulling it right up through the middle of the seam there, and then we're just going to tie it off. And I usually just cut it and then add a little glue there so it doesn't come loose later. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, all right. So I'll just put a little glue there. Okay. So that we have that top stitched. It's trash day, and the trash truck isn't making too much noise for me.
For the third time today.
For the third time. I don't understand why they don't pick up all the cans like they used to. Now they do. They do the green, and then they do the black, and then they do the gray. So it's like crazy. Okay. Well, I understand because it's not all trash, so.
Blue trash cans don't exist anymore, huh? They don't have blue trash cans anymore.
No, they don't have the blue ones anymore.
Sadness.
Okay. Alrighty, so that's all nice and neat. So now what we're going to do is I know this is not the next step in the pattern, but I'm just going to go ahead and close up this lining. So I'm going to pull my zipper pocket out, pull it all the way out. I'm going to reach in and grab the open bottom of my lining and pull it right up through the zipper pocket. Okay, and this waterproof canvas, it's stiff, but we can still get it all pulled out, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to first match up the bottom part of our lining. I'll turn it this way so you can see. We're going to match this part up, and we're going to sew this part closed. Okay. Another interruption, this time another delivery. Yes, I'm getting lots of deliveries today. Okay, sorry about that. So it's all, the bottom is clipped. We're going to sew that bottom closed. And just once again, I just need to check. I just want to check that.
It's like the world knows when you're busy.
I'm telling you. They're like, let's just keep knocking on her door.
It's probably Facebook stalking
you. So I'm going to do 3/8. Close this up. Okay. And once you get that, now we're going to do the box corners here by pulling this out. So pull out on the sides. Get that all pulled out until these seams meet up in the middle here. And we can open up the seams like this. Or we can nest them like this. And I like to nest my seams. And we're going to clip that in the middle. And the sides here. And we're going to sew across. And just make sure it's all, so it should be all lined up. And we're going to sew across at 3/8. And I'm just going to trim. I'm just going to trim this down. Okay, and we'll do that on the other side. Now I kind of know why we didn't, but it's probably, maybe it's not such a good idea to close the lining up just yet, especially since we still have to do the grommets. But, you know, I think it'll still be fine. I don't see how it should get in the way of anything. Okay. But then again, maybe I should just follow the steps. Yeah. Okay, and we got that one closed. Just trim that down. We can push our lining down now. Keep your pocket up though. Okay. And now we can close up our pocket. So, just gonna open up the seam allowance over here on the side. And we're gonna fold that down about 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And get that clipped together. Probably a little easier if you have a cotton lining. But, okay. Fold this one down the same. Bring that together. Do it from this side here. There we go. Get a clip in there, and then we'll be able to bring these together and clip. Adjust this one. Okay. And now we're just going to sew that down, but as close as we can. Okay, just get that a little burn there. Now we can push our pocket in. Get everything pushed in nicely. And then the grommets. Ooh, the grommets. I don't want to scare y'all about the grommets. Alrighty, so how do we have to? Okay, So I'm just making sure my pocket, the corners are pushed in really good. Okay. Wow, that looks so nice. It really does. Fits nicely. Yeah. All right. That looks so good. That's, okay. So now there's these grommet templates. Okay. So you have two of them. Has the center marks here. This one is for the sides, and then these are for the front and back. So we would just match this up right with the edge, with the centers. I'm gonna get that right. Get that in place. So we would just put it on just like that, and we would use a little marking tool here, and we're going to mark out the placement for the grommets. Okay, just like so. Okay, just like that. Okay, and we would do that on both sides. And then this one, we find our centers here. Okay, it should fit pretty good in there. So that's centered. And we'll get this clipped on. Okay, like that. And again, we're going to mark out the grommet placement here. Okay. All right. So like that. I know it's hard to see on here, but I can see. And then we're going to get those holes punched out, get our grommets on, and then all that's left, we still have to, our handles are going to get riveted up so that they're not just loose down in the bag. So there's going to be rivets that we have to put on the handles, and we put our drawstring on, finish getting our hardware on our crossbody strap, and then we're done pretty much. So that's what it's looking like so far. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish marking out the grommet holes, the grommet placement, and then I'll get them all punched out, and I'll leave maybe one or two to show you what I'm doing, and then we'll get the grommets installed. So we'll be back. So I am back with all the grommets already set. There was just too much hammering to do any of this on camera. Let me quiet my phone back down. Okay, so I already installed the grommets. I used this punch here with my regular old hammer, and then I used this tool here. So I thought I left one of the grommets out here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So I have these grommets here, just so I can show you. So I just put this in the hole, and then this, once it's there, this gets set. So this part gets set there. Put the hole over it, and then you put this piece on top. So you have the bag in between. This with these little prongs go on top, and then you set this in. So you would set this in. So imagine the bag in between there, and then you just hammer, and it sets it in place. So that's what I did. Everything's in. They're all in there good. And so now we can, before we put our drawstring on, I'm just going to put all my little tools back here. Okay, and get that out the way. So now before we put the drawstring on, we need to go ahead and set our handles in place. So I've made some marks here. So in the pattern, you're going to make a mark 1 inch down and 1/2 inch from the seam. So I have some marks there. So on the back side, I've already punched the holes for the rivets, but I haven't punched them through my handle. So you want to just go ahead. You want to make sure that your handle don't pull up on it. It should be, sorry, my son came in here doing something really silly. So you want your handle to be nice and straight. You don't want it, don't pull up. Just, it should be right where you want it, nice and even in the bag. And then you're going to use it, you're going to go through the hole to mark the rivet placement on your handle. Okay, so that's what I've done, and I have the rivet placement on my handle, and I'm going to punch that out. And I just said if I needed to move it over just to make sure it was more centered on my handle, that's what I did. So I'm just going to punch those holes on the handle. And then once you have that, now I have 2 size rivets. I have medium and I have some large, because I wasn't sure if I needed the longer ones, the longer posts to go all the way through. So I'm just going to try. I think I may need the longer ones to go all the way through. So I'm going to go through here, then through my handle, and then put the cap on. Okay, and that's just fine. And through the handle. Oops. Okay. And now the handle is set in place like that. And I'll just set the rivets. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to punch the holes on the front and get the rivets all on. And then the only thing left to do is, like I said, put the drawstring through. And we have I already completed the crossbody strap, and then we'll be done with the Harmony bag by Unikatz. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our handles secured in place. Now we can put our drawstring on. Okay, so we're going to start with the 2 holes back here. I like the seam to kind of run down. Let's see. I want the seam of my drawstring to be facing downward. Okay, so first let me just get it in. So I'm going to feed 1 in there. So this is how it should look. I like my seam to be down at the bottom, so that's how I'm feeding mine in. Okay, and then I'm just going to start going in and out, weaving it in and out. So I'll go here, and then through there, and then out to the front. And we'll do the same thing over here. Okay. And I'll just pull them and just get them even here. Like that. And now it's taking shape here. It's looking cute, so cute. We can put our cincher on. So keeping it this way. So I'm gonna run my cincher here. But before I do that, I do want to put the rivets on my cincher here too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to put one. I'm just going to do it right down the middle here in between these stitches. And I'm going to put one here. And one down here. Okay. Now grab those smaller rivets. And this is optional. You don't have to put the rivets if you don't want to. But I think it looks cute. Okay. So I'm just going to put one here. And then here. Oops, get it pushed all the way through. Okay, and now I can set it with my rivet press. Let's get that. Okay. And now I will put it through. So pull that there and there. And then next, I have these, I'm just going to use these zipper ends. Okay, grab the screw. I'm just going to grab these zippers. So I have these zipper ends, and I'm just going to put one on each and just get that in there. You could put a little glue in there if you want to. So hopefully this will fit. Hopefully it's not too tight. I think it should go in. Might have to work it in there. This vinyl's a little bit thicker, but I'll just make sure. So anyway, you'll see. So that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to put one on each end. And then also, once that's on and I have the screw in, then you can also tie a little knot on the end. So that way your cincher doesn't come off. Yeah, I have to put the glue on there and get that to stay on. Okay, so but if you don't have any ends to put on there, don't worry. You could just tie a knot on the ends and it'll still look fine. So I'm going to be back. I'm going to get these on, put my crossbody strap on, and that will do it for this bag. I hope you guys are loving it because I am. So I will be back. All right. The Harmony bag by Unikatz is done. It is so cute. Look at that. I love it. I love it. Nice sturdy bottom. I love these the pleated sides, the gusset. I love that. Okay, so I have the crossbody strap on, and you see how it's attached right to the handles, which is so smart. Okay, so I was able to get these ends on and secured. So it opens up nicely. We have our nice lining that is nice and it fits just right. Okay, love it. I love a nice drawstring bag that I could just throw stuff into. I just love it. Okay, so thank you once again for joining me today as we made the Harmony bag by Unikatz. As always, I'm going to have the link to the pattern in the description. I'll try to remember to list as many of the supplies and things that I used in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And I will see you here once again at Soulful Creations. You guys, happy sewing. Have a good one.